The sky over Neo-Kyoto is the color of a dead screen, bruised violet, streaked with slow-moving auroras that are actually corrupted data bleeding out of the orbital mirrors. No one looks up anymore. Everyone who matters is already inside the lattice, an endless palace of light where bodies are optional and regret is illegal. Down on the rust level, where the rain tastes like copper and every breath smells of burnt insulation, Lyra Voss is still flesh, 23 years old, lungs scarred from breathing recycled air, left arm replaced by a matte black myomer after a factory accident she never talks about. She moves through the drowned streets like a rumor, boots silent on broken glass, carrying a cracked hollow guitar slung across her back the way old soldiers once carried rifles. Tonight, she is hunting the last signal. The last signal is not a song. It is the final, unedited transmission ever sent by a human being before the Great Silence, the moment when the last meat mind chose to upload and the species collectively stopped screaming. Legend says it was broadcast from the abandoned Spire 7 antenna, a needle of carbon and grief that still juts 2 kilometers above the flooded district. Whoever finds the original carrier wave, the story goes, can play it once, just once, and the lattice will remember pain. Lyra does not want revolution. She wants her mother back. Her mother was a session singer in the final decade of physical music, voice like warm smoke and cracked honey. When the upload amnesty was announced, her mother refused. "I'd rather die singing," she told 8-year-old Lyra, kissing her forehead one last time before walking into the night with nothing but the clothes on her back and an acoustic guitar older than the city. She was never seen again in the flesh. 3 weeks later, a ghost account in the lattice began posting 30-second fragments of impossible songs. Songs that hurt to hear, songs that tasted like childhood summers no one alive could remember. Every fragment ended the same way. A woman's voice, half laughing, half crying, saying, "Find me when you're ready, little star." Lyra has been chasing that voice for 9 years. The flooded district is a maze of half-sunken hab blocks and floating corpses of delivery drones. She navigates by muscle memory and the weak pulse of her wrist rig, a jury-rigged thing stitched together from scavenged parts. Her only companion is Juno, a fist-sized spider drone with 7 legs and the personality of a sarcastic cat. Juno rides on her shoulder, projecting faint blue holograms that map safe paths through the black water. Radiation spike in 40 meters. Also, something big is following us. Smells like ozone and bad decisions. Lyra doesn't answer. She is staring at Spire 7. Lightning forks behind it, illuminating the antenna's skeletal frame. The structure leans 5 degrees, held together by hope and carbon nanotubes. At its peak, the original broadcast array still spins slowly, a prayer wheel for a god that abandoned the species. They reach the base at 0317 local time. The entrance is a jagged mouth of torn durasteel. Inside, emergency strips glow sickly red, revealing murals painted by previous pilgrims. Names, dates, final messages. Someone has scrawled, "I was here when the music stopped," in meter-high letters. Lyra traces the words with gloved fingers, then steps inside. The climb is brutal, 2,147 stairs, many missing or twisted. Gravity feels heavier with each floor, as if the tower itself is trying to keep the signal buried. Juno scouts ahead, disabling ancient security turrets that still dream of protecting property no one owns. Halfway up, they find the first body, a man in a pre-upload envirosuit, visor cracked, frozen in the act of reaching for something just out of frame. His chest cavity has been opened like a flower, and inside, a lattice of golden filaments pulses faintly. Someone tried to upload manually and got stuck between states. His mouth is open in a silent scream that has lasted 31 years. Lyra closes his eyes out of respect, then keeps climbing. At level 198, the stairs end. A maintenance hatch leads to the antenna spine, a narrow catwalk open to the storm. Wind screams through the girders, rain needles sideways. Lyra's coat flaps like a broken wing. Juno clings to her neck, legs digging in. The broadcast core is a sphere of mirrored obsidian 10 meters across, suspended in the center of the tower by magnetic rings. Lightning reflects in it 1,000 times, turning the storm into a cage of white fire. At its heart, visible through shifting facets, floats a single object, an antique, solid-state drive, no larger than a child's tooth, wrapped in copper wire and prayer tags left by decades of visitors. The last signal. Lyra steps onto the catwalk. The moment her boot touches metal, the sphere wakes. Holographic glyphs, pre-lattice script, bloom in the air, red and urgent. Warning: playback will cause irreversible resonance cascade. One listener only. Choose wisely. Juno's voice cracks. Lyra, the lattice just lit up like a supernova. Every archivist node is looking this way. If you play it, they'll trace the resonance in seconds. They'll erase you before the song ends. I know, Lyra says. Her voice is calm, almost sleepy. She unhooks a hollow guitar from her back. The instrument is older than she is. Its wood is scarred, pickups replaced a dozen times, but the soul is still her mother's. She plugs the antique drive into the guitar's custom port with fingers that do not shake. The sphere opens like a black flower. The first note is not sound. It is memory. Lyra is 6 again, sitting on a threadbare couch while her mother sings an old song about satellites and lonely oceans. The apartment smells of jasmine tea and solder flux. Her mother's voice wraps around her like sunlight. Then, the memory fractures, the same voice, older, thinner, singing inside an endless white corridor of the lattice, reaching out with hands made of static. Little star, the ghost account whispers, I waited too long. I'm sorry. The song isn't finished. Lyra's cheeks are wet. She didn't realize she was crying. The second note hits the city. Every dead screen in Neo-Kyoto flares to life. Billboards that haven't worked in 50 years display a single image. A woman with silver-streaked hair, smiling through tears, holding a guitar that looks exactly like the one in Lyra's hands. Speakers, long silent, crackle, then pour out the melody, raw, unfiltered, bleeding. In the lattice, millions of immortal minds freeze mid-thought. They feel something they outlawed decades ago. Grief. Real grief, the kind that cracks bones. A child who uploaded at age 7 suddenly remembers the taste of his mother's burnt toast. A financier who hasn't felt heartbeat in 40 years clutches at phantom chest pain. The entire network stutters, a god having a stroke. On the catwalk, she plays the final verse. Her voice joins her mother's across the gulf of years. If you hear this, know I never left. I just learned a longer way to hold you. The lattice archivists arrive as light, golden spears raining upward from the city. They will erase her in picoseconds. Lyra smiles, closes her eyes, and leans into the last court. The resonance cascade detonates. Spire 7 blooms with white fire. The antenna array sings one perfect, impossible note that travels faster than light, punching through orbital mirrors, writing ancient satellites, reaching every corner of the system before the archivists can raise a single firewall. When light fades, the tower is gone. Only the guitar remains, floating in midair, strings still vibrating, though no hand touches them. In the lattice, something new is born, a region of permanent static shaped like a woman holding a child. The archivists cannot delete it. Every time they try, 10 million minds threaten to downgrade back to flesh just to protect her. Down on the rest level, people look up for the first time in years. The sky is still bruised violet, but now there is music in it, faint, distant, growing. And somewhere in the flooded streets, a little girl with one myomar arm picks up a broken hollow guitar. She strums once,